This looks, welcoming and encouraging. The constant screaming in the background is a nice touch. Really brings the room together. So did they bring enough food supplies for this trip? There may not be that many of them in this case, but I'm just like, you guys brought like a whole lot, right? Because it doesn't look like a place where we find more at all. Hey, those rocks are floating. That's the thing that happens here. Ivor, we missed you a lot. Also, I think the ending I got last game was like ambiguously in the territory of like, is he dead? So that was, you know, worrying. Glad to know he made it out. You need to address this now, Juno. You catch one of the ravens staring at you for the third time. The whispering between them has become worrisome. Not yet. Soon. The longer you control Folka's mind, the worse it'll be when you drop the tricks. The ravens you brought with us are hardened mercenaries. They won't take lightly to being kidnapped. There was no time to convince them properly, and we need their blades and shields out here. What happened out here exactly? The darkness doesn't kill, it warps. There are things hiding out here we don't want to meet. Perfect. I have a feeling they might notice this giant dome of light. I'm afraid it's necessary. It's the only thing keeping the darkness from warping us as well. I will release Folka's mind soon. When they discover they're trapped within the light... How do you expect this to play out? They will be furious. Help me keep things from spiraling out of control. What I've done, I know how it looks. It isn't the way I wanted things to be. Please, Ivor, put your trust in us a little longer. Just fix this. Believe me, we are trying. Great. Only one bubble keeping us from dying and being obliterated, well, being warped into a weird thing like in the movie Annihilation. And, everyone on our team pretty much...
The old city on the human-wild border looms ahead. Twisted into a claw, but still strand. Now, I have to imagine the longboats bringing fish in the harbor, and the bustling of merchants hawking goods. An unexpected light from Strand's Great Hall calls to us from atop the hill. We'll stop briefly to investigate.
Ooh, is someone alive? So not only do we only have a barrier keeping us from in our current form, we have an army of enslaved people. Ah, so that's what happens. The question is whether those were originally dredge or humans, but I'm guessing humans. Oh god, there's an entire second cast of characters I need to keep track of. I almost forgot. I'm sorry, who are you? Okay. Okay, which one of you are characters I already knew, and which one of you are characters that are... Huh. I think I remember characters like... Yeah, I remember Folka, I remember Spar, I remember Ditch. I think. These are like some somewhat strange characters. Admittedly, some of these characters are very forgettable, because a lot of these characters are like super minor people that just kind of showed up and then join your party. You get a little conversation with them, a little introduction scenario, but then a lot of them kind of become background characters a moment later. That's the majority of Banner Saga's cast, so it's why it's hard to keep track of all these people a little bit, but I swear some of these people are new, right? Like Apostate and Alfrune, and I don't remember Valgard, but he's He's a generic ass white dude that probably has a shield. There it is. There it is. He's just like the two people that joined my party a moment ago in the other file. So like, I could have forgotten about him because he's another white guy with a shield and an axe. I get it. Sure. But these... What the fuck? I feel like I'd remember these characters more. I don't know. Apostate? First of all, you're a dredge in my party. Are you DLC? This is something I haven't mentioned until now, I don't think. But, so there was an ongoing thing with BioWare games where they kept making DLC characters when they were working with EA. And this culminated in a big, nasty moment that people were very mad at, which is when Mass Effect 3 came out, and there was a Prothean character that was DLC or pre-order only and stuff like that. And you had to, like, either pre-order the game or pay $10 extra at launch in order to get the Prothean. And it's like, dude, the Protheans are super important to the lore of Mass Effect, and you're gonna lock a DLC, you're gonna lock a character that's super important to the story, and frankly, that character has a bunch of really cool interactions throughout the story if you have them with you. And like that was like a big deal at the time. And it's like a really big bummer that they made a DLC. A lot of people, to this day, like people will find my Mass Effect playthrough, and also people were just watching it when I was doing it at the time, and they didn't even know Mass Effect 3 had a DLC character. Like a lot of people didn't even know it existed because they just play the game. And so it's such a bummer so many people missed out on that. Admittedly, side characters in this game are often way more side than they are in most BioWare games. The huge cast features a lot of characters that just get a couple of lines. Like, and some characters like Trig V that seem like they're more important early on, but then over time they become more and more background over time and stuff like that. But this game, Banner Saga 3, when it was coming out, had a big old banner advertising the fact that if you pre-order this game, which it's too late now, sorry everyone, if you pre-order this game, which I did for my own purposes, you get a dredge party member. And I'm like, what? You guys did it again? You guys can't even blame EA this time. And when I say you guys did it again, I mean the fact that Stoic, the company that makes the series, is founded by 3 members of BioWare that left BioWare and made this company. So this is ex-BioWare employees making a company where their big franchise reaches the end of its trilogy and then has a character in your party that's a member of the antagonist group that is a DLC character. And I'm like, I don't know, man. I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I'm not 100% sure if this is the person or not, though. Because I remember that at the end of the last game, they were hinting at the idea of the dredge being intelligent and possible allies, and I don't remember I don't remember how far that went, so I can't be super sure. But either way, this is a dredge party member right here. Let's see what they do. Rupture. Character's magic seeks out any dredge too weak to resist it and explodes their bodies, killing them and sending stone shrapnel in all directions. This is powerful weaving, but requires a round to cast. Some dredge are strong enough to resist even if wounded. So kill a dredge with 8, 9, or 10 strength or less, and I think that last throwaway line is explaining you can't use it to finish off a boss, probably. But yeah, it'll just kill off an entire dredge somewhere on the map. It sounds like it might even have infinite range. But it is a 2-turn phase, though. Umbrage. The Stone Singer casts a powerful spell, sending a surge of strength through all his allies. The added size and bulk causes some armor to break. In an emergency, the spell can be used to keep weak units alive, but the long casting time requires planning ahead. So I think this person has a bunch of 2-turn spells, basically. Let's see. So it caps out at -4 armor plus 5 strength. Huh. All of his allies? That's... Huh. That's crazy. I mean, it makes your entire team much more vulnerable also. But yeah, the damage, the bonus strength to your whole team could be just terrifying. Your ability to just do a ton of damage the turn that it goes off. Disease Strike. Inflicts a disease on enemies after a successful attack. Diseased enemies lose 1 strength per turn. So that's just a passive. They just have a disease attack. Disease enemies will pass the disease to their healthy allies when standing adjacent to them. Ooh. That's an additional level. So it's not just a normal bleed. It actually does plague its way through a mob. Cool. Apostate. This stone singer, a powerful dredge spell weaver, is proof that not all dredge fear and hate humanity. Though the stone singer does not speak, it travels with the ravens now, working toward what you expect is the same goal, saving its own kind from the darkness. I feel like I've got to put this in the party. He's really interesting. Probably get rid of Valgard, because he's another unit required in party. At this time, Valgard is required in the battle party. Dang it. Oh, Oli's not required. These two are both required in the party? I don't remember either of these characters existing before. Alfrun. Look at her. Her hands are all torn up. As far as I can remember, the last game ended with, oh god, how am I forgetting his name? Ivor being in a fight against, the leader of the Ravens, right? And that it seemed like it was actually a little up in the air whether Ivor even survived or not. So I think we've had a time skip. Or I'm just forgetting an entire chunk of the story, because it was just entirely possible with how long it's been. But I think we just got new party members off camera, and we're going to learn over time what actually happened that got us this deep into the nasty. Alfrun, a mysterious and seemingly powerful spell weaver who claims to have a complicated history with the menders, and taught herself how to weave. Her hands and body look as though they've suffered under the practice. She happened across survivors in Strand while searching for the cause of the darkness. In Strand. Isn't that where we are right now? I think we're meeting these characters right now in this fight or something. And it just hasn't happened on camera yet. Ballard, level 9 raid master. A battle-hardened warrior and longtime protector of Strand and its governor. Yeah, so these are just Strand characters, which is where we just got to, right? Ballard is a close friends with Eric, the bear guy from the other campaign, or the other team, so I don't know if they're going to meet each other here. Going back a long ways and having seen a lot of things together, he stayed in Strand to get many people to safety as possible and ended up stuck here in the darkness, saved only by a fortuitous crossing of paths with Alfrun. Now he's been forced to move on from the city he's always considered home. I think we encountered this guy before. He's just blending in with all of the nearly identical characters, but I probably... It doesn't sound unfamiliar, the idea of somebody that was friends with Eric being in the game earlier. Okay, so these are both new characters then, I think. What are your spells, Alfrun? Strength of will. Menders usually heal injuries slowly and carefully, but Alfrun has learned to force the body to mend itself quickly through sheer determination. Alfrun will always be able to heal at least one strength if she has the will to cast Strength of Will at all. At least one strength. As opposed to what? The lack of information there is weird. Like, how much can she heal in general? I don't know the healing rules necessarily. Close range heal. She has to be near them. Ride the lightning. That looks dramatic. Alfrun uses her will to focus her energies, launching herself forward with her spear set. After hitting her target, she quickly retreats back to her starting tile. Because she can't move through obstacles or allies, Alfrun needs a clear line of sight with her target. A long-distance strike from her is devastating and leaves the target concussed, suffering 20% on his next attack. So it is a ranged attack, but she does it by dashing in a straight line, then dashing back. So it keeps her safe, but there has to be a clear line of sight, so it does not work like arrows. Dark energy. At the start of her turn, Alfrun gets one will. Neat. Then stops at her max. Neato. Let's see, let's put Ivor back in, and Sigbjorn, because I'm just always making good use of those characters. Because Sigbjorn is the equivalent of my other character that kicks ass with the big nasty attacks. Just go all in with the strength attacks and artery strike people. I'm going to want to max out that willpower, because it lets him do even stronger attacks. This is my Tempest character for this party. And I've shown a preference for playing with Warhawks, basically. Having a big Varl in the party that can just spin and take people out. Ivor, how you doing? He lost, didn't he? He lost his arm in the first game, huh? So he's been sticking it out. I think he's the one character that kind of, didn't he essentially have like a class change? I think he was a shield user originally, then he lost his arm, so he kind of had to get different moves. So yeah, he also has Tempest. I forgot about that. That's pretty good. Then he has this knockback. All of his stats are maxed? Yeah. Next thing is to start getting talents and stuff like that. We only have 29 favor, or fame, or whatever, so I'm not really going to go in on that right now. Let's get our apostate in there, because they're an odd one. Ditch is the stealth character, I believe? Yeah, track. Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's basically Eric, but he doesn't have a bear he can summon, which... Wait, was that Eric or not? I'm sorry, guys. There's so many goddamn characters. I don't actually remember if Eric is the guy that had the bear or not. I thought he was. Oh, well. But yeah, I think this guy doesn't have a bear, which makes him significantly less impressive than his counterpart elsewhere. Let's see, Ivor. You're using a level 4 charm, plus 1 armor per turn. %, divert armor. I looked that up, and that means that's referring to this talent right here. This is divert armor. It means that when somebody attacks your armor, you have a X% chance to avoid the attack, stopping the armor damage from happening. Rank 3 of this was only 15%, so this plus 20% is actually a pretty big boost. It's just 1 in 5 armor attacks won't happen. And then there's a 10% dodge of strength, which is the same thing but for your strength meter, so that's just a decent chance of avoiding damage. Then it gives you 1 strength resist, which is just means -1 damage on strength attacks that happen to you. And then plus 1 armor on top of that. It's just not a bad thing for your leader-ish character to have. This... We're woefully short on these, aren't we? Oh yeah. We have like a small handful of items, basically. A little concerning, because I don't think we better hope we find... I mean, society has ended, so hopeful, you know. We might find grand riches here and there and be able to stock up, but otherwise we're going to be in trouble, because I don't expect to find vendors in the, you know, the apocalypse and all that. Get you guys back in the first 2 slots. Apostate. We've been over what you have. Oh, let's get your points in. You're a spellcaster, so let's get that willpower up. I might be able to just max out all your stats. Yeah, guess so. Probably want to go in on willpower. Oh yeah, chances of regenerating willpower. Let's go for that one. Because they seem to primarily go on having these... Seems like this character can basically just stand in the back row and just use their abilities every turn. So a lot of willpower and the ability to regenerate willpower is probably the way to go. I should look into items that do that also. 1 strength, 1 will per turn. Ooh. That's not a bad thing for you to have. Instead of that other character that's not on my party right now. Although I might put him in the party. 1 armor per turn. Let's see. +3 will per rest. You're just, yeah, another way of regenerating will, if necessary. I guess I need to figure out whether or not I want to have Oli, or Ivan, or Juno, or Folka back in the party. Because Folka I had in the party before, apparently. They were good, weren't they? You can go between an ally and any attacking enemy. Yeah, she has the thing where adjacent... When somebody near her gets attacked, she takes half the damage instead of them. And she has 17 armor, so she can take it to an extent. The other one is just a bonus smash. Oh, but when she uses it, she loses her passive ability, Shield Mastery. Right. She's got that cool thing where she's like that bear, where she takes all of her... She has to take all of her armor damage first. She doesn't have a huge amount of strength, but the fact that her armor has to go down first means that she can keep at full power for a pretty long time during fights. Let's get those capped out. There we go. Yeah, she's a pretty good character. I might want to keep her in there. But they're making me use Valgard, which is kind of a shield character. I find this character least useful at times. Just in general. Stone Wall. Character braces for impact with heavy shield, resisting damage from each strike for the next turn. Each hit the Raidmaster takes to either strength or armor is reduced, preventing him from taking permanent damage to either. The Raidmaster can use Stonewall to rush into a group of enemies and gain a forward advantage, or step in the way of a powerful enemy to block his movement with impunity. So resist 3, 5, and 7 damage per hit. If you're resisting 7 damage per hit, they have to actually do more than 7 damage to even hurt you at all. So much like Folka, that's like some genuinely useful defensive moves. So we have a shield user. I might go with Eyvind. What is Oli? Oli was a similar character, right? Oh, he had the ranged attack. Yeah, he had the run-through thing where you go through somebody, as we went over with the other characters. And then Axe Storm. Lobs an axe at the target up to 4 tiles away, dealing normal strength damage if it hits. And he keeps throwing over and over and over again until he either misses or it's deflected. And the higher the rank you go with, the higher chance it has of hitting, meaning that the combo goes for longer in many cases. And it can do some, like, that can do a lot of damage. Yeah, he is an interesting ranged character. I liked him, I remember that. That's why I gave him a bonus strength too. Take heed, Axe Storm's chance to hit cannot be modified by any item or talent. They're very specific to this chance, because otherwise it could become too powerful. If you got to 100% hit chance, then he would just never miss, and that would kind of break everything, wouldn't it? So you don't want that to happen in your game. But yeah, I even had the lightning attacks. Arc lightning. Yeah. This is the one where you have to figure out there was really obnoxiously specific rules about what counted as an enemy being diagonal or not, because this would chain through diagonal enemies, and you had to know whether it was going to work properly or not. And Ivan's looking messed up now. Then he threw stones like a Jedi. And then Mend was still an armor regen. I think I'll try throwing Oli in there. Give him a go. I think that complements the party. We have a spellcaster, 2 spellcasters. I don't need 3 menders in the party necessarily, but I want to let the apostate try. We'll see how this goes. Items. Apostate. Alright, let's remove that guy's item because he's not using it. If he's not in combat. It's a bonus will. Although you also can use will. Most of the offensive attacks. And they have a heal. I guess I don't necessarily know which one I'd want to prioritize. She has 6... okay, you have 12. I think that answers it for me. She only has 6 will to begin with, so healing 1 per turn and getting +3 overall. Sounds like a good... Oh, wait, but you already have a regen. Whoops. You get +1 every turn. Whereas you get Disease Strike. Still, though, 12 lasts a while during a fight, whereas... +1 means she gets 2 will per turn. And it evens her out at having 9 overall instead of just 6, so it does even out her weakness that she starts with overall. And let's give her a chance of additional will regen so she can just spam that shit out. Since she's a spellcasting oriented character. You 3 have items, you have an item, Apostate does not have an item. Will per rest, armor per rest, +1 will. Sure, maybe. Ranged distance, +3 to break talents. That might be better for you, actually. Get some range difference on my distance on my only ranged character that doesn't have an item right now. I think the apostate doesn't even have range. Like these spells sound like they just affect. I think this affects. This goes and finds an enemy and attacks it. It sounds like it says seeks out. We'll know in practice if that means something different or not. In Umbrage, this is like our whole party apparently. So range doesn't seem applicable to you. My choice is 1 armor per turn. Will rest. You get the armor per turn. You're a shieldy type person. I can give you the will per rest. Game fights me a little bit when I try to put those items on for some reason, where it doesn't react at first when I'm trying to put them on. Everyone has their points spent. Alright, that'll get us started. Wish me luck on this weird-ass party that I have to get familiar with now. We have 2, like, very large parties to micromanage in parallel. It's a bit to get back into. It's cool, though. Mostly makes me vaguely nervous as a Let's Player. Just in time. Okay, so yeah, this is story. That's why I don't know who they are. Survivors. Let's clear these things out. This stuff makes me nervous as a Let's Player, because I'm like, I'm trying to make a video out of this, and I've got to sort through 50 items, 50 characters' inventories. That guy on our team? Kiwi. These are listed as enemies, this guy's not. Maybe he's the dredge I get as a party member. Whereas the apostate might have been the one from the previous game? I don't remember. Kiwi sounds familiar, I think that might be DLC. Huh. 20 and 17. Say hello to your new Dredge Varl. Okay. So we can't move them because they're all stuck there. Oop. These are the warped. The warped warrior, warped axemen. There's 3 axemen there. Spearmen. They're overall, they don't have dangerous numbers. They're not very intimidating on that front. We pretty much just have to try to close the gap and see how that goes. Any hero can use the Valka Spear to cast Chain Lightning on an enemy. To defeat enemies to charge it. The Valka Spear? Okay. That's interesting. So it seems that because we're not a member of the Banner army right now, we don't have the War Horn that gives you a willpower. Instead you get an offensive move. Goddamn, I give you... This doesn't even give you bonus movement. You just have crazy movement, apparently, Ivor. Okay. Mr. Badass over here. Let's do a spin. We need to do 3 enemies. So rank 2. Clockwise. And they're not all dead. Shit. We're really supposed to all be dead right now. Huh. That didn't go so hot. These 2 are at least half strength, so it's their 5 strength versus my 17 armor. This guy's a little more worrying. I'm not psyched about how I can't get into Tempest range to hit both of them. Thundering Impact. Added strength and armor damage to target and adjacent allies. So +1 break and strength damage. That should be pretty strong because his strength damage was already going to say like 9 a second ago. Okay, that's a crit. He's dead. And they took a little bit of damage. I just melted him into a weird pit of ugh. Warped Ashes. -1 will and +1 will to warped. So we lose will and he gains will. They gain will if they're in there. Okay. Well, how do you do, Alfred? Let's learn how you work. Strength of will. Right. That's the... target heals for half of Alfred's current will. Cannot go over max. So that... okay, so giving her a boost of will is even better then, because this means I can heal somebody for like 5 health or something, where if she only had 3 will before, then she kind of was worse before. Can I cast this now, by the way? Oh, yes you can. How strong is it? Strength damage that arcs to all diagonal units. Strikes target for 1 strength continuously, going diagonally, doing +1 strength each time, so it gets more powerful the more people you combo. Unfortunately, these two are the only ones together, and I don't remember if this changed. It probably changed to Ivor, which would be bad. But I remember there being something weird about the diagonal rules, but I don't remember what the weirdness was. And Ride the Lightning is a straight line dash, which is fun. Does 1 strength damage +1 per 2 tiles jumped. So 1, 2, 3. Really? Seems like the main benefit is just the concussion then, and that it weakens the enemy, because that's not... 3 damage is not impressive. Kind of a bummer, actually. And her attack range is that. Let's bust up that armor, huh? Rude. He hasn't even had a turn yet. Wow. Wow. You're not doing great, are you? You're half out of strength already. Let's see, Stonewall. Right, that just lets him tank better, which might be the good thing to do right now, because he's not doing so hot. Let's block 5 damage. Probably a case of like kind of unnecessary conserving of energy, I suppose. The problem is, do these guys count as dredge? Is this attack... It destroys wounded dredge. These guys are warped, though. I have no reason to think that they're dredge. They have an attack range of 1 tile. They can't move into range of any of the enemies, because they only have a move of 2? Wow. You only have a move of 2, huh? This makes all allies have more strength and less armor. Fuck it! I brought you, I might as well use it. Yeah, I'm questioning whether I'll use this character. If I'm not fighting Dredge, their primary offensive skill doesn't work, as far as I can tell. But it's, this thing where I buff the whole party comes at a cost, and may not be the best thing for a lot of tactical situations. Axe Storm. Kind of want to see what I can do to this character. What? It's out of range? But it was in range for the... damn it. Axe Storm has less range than my normal attack? Annoying. I guess the idea is that I gave him +2 to range, but it only affects his attack and not his other moves that are themselves variations of that attack. That's a bit frustrating. Screw it. Screw that guy up. Oh, wow, 2 damage. Exciting. Kiwi. Oh, Jesus, I have control of him right now? So I straight up have an extra character. This is unfair. See, it's like, I super have an advantage here. Custom armor, +1 armor resist, +1 strength resist. Cool. Kindle, a shield slam causes knockback to all adjacent units doing armor break damage. Also cool, and AoE. Also, he's tanky as all hell. Drumfire. Shockwave does armored break damage. Hot Ash, Remnant, mends Dredge, and hurts all others. I can do a shockwave that heals dredge and hurts others. And I have one other dredge here, technically, I suppose. If he used the kill a dredge move, would it kill Kiwi? Because they're the only one, they're the only dredge. Ooh, +1 armor to turn to all adjacent allies via an item he's currently holding. So Kiwi even comes with a cool trinket. Alright. And his movement was here. Probably just come over here and start smacking dudes. Stop that! There we go. Now he's got way less strength. Dude. Alright, that good thing the resistance is set up. These two are way weaker. That one's a bit stronger and more worrying. That one's also stronger. Go mess up those two. There we go. A -11. I'm sticking with that goal of trying to weaken as many enemies as possible. 'Cause it's important to focus on that. Like the way that the turn order works. A lot of people yell at me out this shit. I get like angry comments about my strategy, even though it provably works and has been a great strategy a lot of the time. If you weaken as many, you would like many games. RPGs consistently incentivize you to prioritize attacking a specific enemy. Usually the goal is to focus fire one enemy down at a time to reduce the number of enemies on the other team. But that's a different... it makes a logical sense in most games, because in most games everyone gets a turn and you just cycle through everyone's turns in order. But in this game, the two competing teams take turns having a turn no matter what. So if I have 8 people and the enemy has 4 people, those 4 enemies on that team are going to get twice as many turns, because you're always alternating teams down here. It doesn't matter how outnumbered people are, it's always blue, red, blue, red, blue, red. So my top priority is always to weaken the strength of whoever has the most strength on the enemy team, because then that means that's the one that can do the most damage to my party. Especially with how armor works in this game. If I get rid of everyone who has a lot of strength, they straight up can't get past my armor because their strength is so low they can't hurt my strength past my armor in many cases. So like just quickly and efficiently weakening as many enemies as possible is just clearly the smart thing to do in these games. And a weird number of people don't seem to get that. And to get used to you still. There's somebody I want to heal the strength of? Oh yeah, right. I should be healing my friend over here. Let's fix you up. There you go. Having a healer's definitely worth having. It seems like the menders mostly heal armor, and so this character specifically can heal strength, making them really effective in ways that aren't usually available to me, I think. I'm gonna come up here and hug you. And I'm just gonna stonewall in your face. Ah. Oh my god. It happened. Ow. So everyone has scary amounts of strength now. 22, 23, 22. Oh my god. Absurd. Let's see, who can I go after? That's a tough one. Let's not bother with Axe Stormer now. Let's just try to weaken this character over here. Which I'm gonna hit if I go right here. With my giant ass meter. Boom. 8 damage right there. Fairly often it seems more effective just to smite people with your strongest attack, like just by hitting them with a high willpower attack, than messing with any of your fancy bag of tricks. I feel like a lot of the times your bag of tricks just isn't that cool. Shield slam would hit these two guys. What's the shockwave look like? Drum fire. Whoa. That just hits all of those people? That's interesting. It's a really, really particular hitbox you got there. So everybody in that range loses 1 to 3 armor and 1 to 3 strength per tile? I mean 1 strength per tile? What's the per tile mean? Oh, because people like I've recover 4 tiles, so they'd get hurt 4 times by that. Whereas the armor's not per tile. Interesting. A 3 and 5 damage. What do I think Kindle will do? Oh, it primarily does armor break damage. It's kind of pointless right now. When I can just obliterate people. Well, I thank you for walking into that position so I could do this. I did lose a willpower though, that sucks. But if I do... No, don't hit that guy. It says adjacent enemies. Why is it targeting him? Whatever. Unselect. There we go. I was hoping that 3 adjacent enemies would mean that I attack that guy up top too, and I'd kill all 3 of them in one go, but apparently it was going to hit him. Thankfully, the highlighted tiles give me nice, important information that helps me actually tell what's happening. You can't reach any of the enemies because it's gotten too crowded over here, so you're just gonna chill? I guess you could have rested and gained some armor back. Okay, he's really low on that, actually. You cut out your shit. Stop that. Pillage mode! The one exception to the thing I said before about the turn order. Which is that it would be really obnoxious if the final enemy just had like infinite turns. Although it's even a little rough when you have like 7 people. It's a little rough when you have 7 characters and they have 2 and they get to just turn every other turn, but usually if they're that outnumbered, they're probably losing already. It's a problem when there's boss fights, for sure.